Hello everyone, it's early June now. It's quite an overcast but very warm day, quite humid. Just had a week of very wet weather, and that was following the heat wave in late May, which has caused a couple of issues. We're going to have a look around the plot, see how things are doing. Let's start down the end, I think, today. Here in bed 5, I've got sweetcorn that I've put in about a week and a half. I reckon they've doubled in size already. I've put some fleece around the edge just to give them a bit of protection early on from the wind. I'll probably have to remove it, and then I'll put maybe some rope round just to give the sweetcorn plants protection from when it gets, and any days that it gets really windy. Down the front here I've put 3 squash plants in, which are growing really fast as well. That's as an Achiki Curia, Crown Prince and honeyboat squash. There's not really enough room here for the 3 plants. I probably should have just put 2 in, but I'm going to have to, and they're going to trail off the bed, and I'm going to have to create some space down the side maybe to try and keep them off the bed a bit, to give so they're not going around the sweetcorn. And also I've put some spare sweetcorn plants in here, just didn't want to throw them away. It's probably not a great idea because there's not enough space, but things are going well in that bed, I think. I also put a squash down the end there, and a spare honeyboat squash. I grew 2 of each plant, or 2 or 3 I think, and then I don't want to throw them all away, so I stuck 1 in there to see how it does. I think it's only a small variety, and then the rest of the plants I just gave to the neighbouring plot to grow on their plot. Well, that looks growing well, I think. Just alongside bed 5 is a little competition, onion competition between me and my nephew. There's mine on the right, Tribal Chief's Big O. The O stands for onion, obviously. And my nephew's, the Order of 66. Don't know what that means. Something to do with Star Wars, I believe. Looks like mine's bigger. This variety's exhibition. Yeah, mine's a bit bigger, but you never know what's going to happen. There's more leaves, nice healthy leaves on my nephew's plant, I think. The lavender's starting to flower in the Archway bed. It's a huge plant. I'm sure it's not ideal for taking nutrients away from the veg that's growing in there. Just next to the lavender on this side is Lusaka sugar snap peas, which we've harvested a lot from already, big bowl from. This fleece has done well to protect them, because last year pigeons ate all the flowers off them, so I got hardly any. Around the back I've put a few Greek Gigantes plants in. Had to put them in. I think I started them too early. Ideally I would have had the peas out before putting them in. And then on this side, down the back, I put a few extra spare French beans along with the French beans in the bean frame, which I'll show you in a bit. And a couple of spare onions in there too. They look okay. And then beetroot here on this side. Looks like it's about ready really to take a few small ones maybe. They'll have enjoyed the rain. Down the front here, 2 different varieties of courgette. Can't remember which one's which. I think this is Romanesco, and then this one is Bianca di Trieste. They're growing okay. The Archway's looking okay. In this mini bed at the end of the arches, got a second sowing of peas. These are a popular Oregon sugar pod Monge 2P, which have grown a bit taller than I thought they would. So I've had to sort of wing an extension just out of canes to give them a bit more room because they were pressing against the top of the netting. I do have to keep them netted, otherwise the pigeons will eat everything. I think next year I'll swap them round because I think Oregon sugarpud grow slightly taller than the Lusaka. So I'll put the Oregon sugarpud in first under the arches. I did grow, I've got carrots growing at the front here, but I suspect they won't, and a few turnips, but I suspect they're not going to grow that well because there's not that much light. They're a bit crowded out by the peas there. You never know, might get a few. And in fruit corner here, already the blackcurrants are starting to ripen. It looks to me like there's not as many as last year, but I might be wrong. There's definitely less gooseberries. These ones will turn red eventually, in a month I guess. Not to worry. I've got carrots going here that I've now sort of in containers that I've put together and covered against the carrot root fly, and they're going really well. Maybe another month and I'll get those harvested. This old bed made from old pallets. I've got my garlic in, and elephant garlic. It's been very weedy in this bed. I've weeded it maybe like 6 times. Still the weeds keep coming. I think it's because I put a lot of homemade compost in, and my compost bins don't really get hot enough to kill off the seeds. Just have to keep pulling them out. That's doing okay. Because I only sowed these in spring, I'm not going to harvest till I guess August time, so they've got plenty of time to grow. Just got to look out for if there's any rust coming. Looks okay so far to me. The back there, some rhubarb, which is it suffered in the heat wave, I think, but it seems to be coming back there in the centre. So I should be able to get a bit more of a pick off that. In this little mini corner bed right in the corner of the plot, I've got 4 Navara lettuce plants, which are, if I was going to eat them, they'd be ready to take now. Probably just close to starting to bolt. But I actually want them to go to seed because I want to save seeds from this variety, because the variety has been discontinued by the seed sellers. So you're not going to be able to get seeds anymore, and to me it's easily the best lettuce I've grown. I'm not sure how high they'll get when they go to seed, but might be have to raise this netting up a bit. I've got to keep it netted because I've tried to save seeds from these before and it didn't work because the seed pod just got eaten by little grubs, caterpillars. So I'm hoping the netting will keep off any moths or butterflies or whatever, lay the eggs. There's a few spring onions in there. There's only a few because most of them didn't grow. The varieties in Tita, which are probably not going to grow again. So far my favourite spring onions to grow are definitely Tokyo Long and Ishikura, which I think are a Japanese spring onion. They grow really well for me. I've tried lots of different spring onions and a lot of them haven't worked, but those 2 varieties work really well. And over in my bean frame, got beans growing in most of the spots along the canes. These are from chitted the seeds in a hot water tank cupboard just to get them going, and then I just put them in the ground. Down the end here is these ones are sunshine, just 2 or 3 canes I think, or maybe 4, and the rest are cobra French beans. The sunshine ones don't seem to be doing as well, I don't think, but I think they're a slightly slower growing variety anyway. And then at the front there's a few lettuce kind of ready to harvest. Once I've harvested those, I'll put some spring onions down the front, I think. and maybe a few new lettuce. Down the ends I've got it set up so I can put plants in containers down the end. So I put a couple of tomatoes, one on each side. This is a sun gold, I think. It's not looking very healthy. Hopefully it'll pick up. It's only been in a week, so that'll take time, and after all the rain maybe it's not like that. We'll see this plant down this end, I think is a Cherokee purple beefsteak tomatoes. It's doing much better. That's looking okay, I think. Just needs a bit warmer weather to get those beans really growing. And this is the carrot box, which I've cleared. It's had lettuce in. We've been harvesting the lettuces and enjoying those, and some spring onions as well. But I grow my carrots in here, for main crop carrots in here, starting in around early June, which I sowed the other day. I've been a bit worried because we had some really heavy downpours, and I was worried the seeds would just get washed up to the top, which is really annoying because you can't really tell for a week or two whether the sowings was successful, and you've lost a couple of weeks of early growth. But hopefully the netting actually sort of softened the blow. It doesn't look like there's any evidence of any seeds that have come up. It looks flat, the soil, so I think it's all right. I'll just cut to a video of, because I did a little video of how I sow the seeds. I'll play that. I'm just at the carrot box. I've emptied out the lettuce and 2 bunches of spring onions, and I've started sowing carrots for winter. Just thought I'd show how I do that. I've topped up the bed with a couple of bags of compost, and this bed is decking, and it's three boards high. So I tried to keep it up to the top of the second decking. I could go higher and it would be better for growing the carrots, but obviously compost is expensive, so at least I try and keep it up to the second level. And then I've sown this half already. This half I've done Eskimo. You can see the green pelleted seeds there. On this side I'm doing this side is going to be sweet candle. I've done 3 rows. I've got a few left to do. And all I do is, I've got a little pile of seeds here. I don't normally do this. I'd normally have it in my hand. I put 3 seeds, and I try to make it so there's a little gap between each seed of about half a centimetre or a centimetre, and if all 3 come up it's much easier to thin. I can just snip out the 2 I don't want. Yeah, and there's about a gap of 5 centimetres in between each location, just like that. And then 3 seeds. And the bed's very well watered. It's been raining, but I've watered it again. And I water each drill with a little bottle, just gently wet the seeds, and then I'll just squiff over the top with soil, and then we re-water again, because it's really important to keep the seeds, make sure the seeds are damp and keep them damp. So I'll water every couple of days, depending on whether it rains or not. You just can't let the tops dry out. So I've got Eskimo on that side and Sweet Candle on this side. They'll be about 4 months. So they're ready. Some people might think this is a bit silly doing it like this, but it's quite time consuming, but it's quite good fun for me. I quite enjoy it. So I do my carrots, Eskimo and Sweet Candle. Should be ready in September, October time. This is bed 4, little Kohlrabi there. Which hopefully is going to get a lot bigger than that. This bed had some choice some that I removed because they're just going to seed, but I did get a little harvest of them at least, and I've replaced them with a few things. Got to put some beetroot in, some spring onions, and some guylan, which may bolt as well, but I think the bed was just too warm. In the 32-degree heat, brassicas like that, it's not going to like it, especially with the netting over. Anyway, down the end there, got some pretty healthy looking onions, Bedfordshire Champion onions. They were spare. I just filled up half the bed with those. And I've got Bold Tardy beetroots and Boldor beetroot. Boldor is a yellow variety of beetroot. So spring onions, guylan, a couple of lettuce, and then down the end got these Kohlrabi, which at the moment are all leaf. But hopefully they'll swell up. I tried to keep the central paths on our allotment free for access, but the other paths I'll use up. I'll put containers in, so I'm just trying to maximise use of the space. So I've got some chives there that I transplanted, and I've sown some extra chives in there, so hopefully they're growing. This is a bush cherry tomato called Red Profusion. Looks okay. And then just a lettuce there that's gone very red. This is Navara again. Gone very red in the hot sun, I think. This was a container where I did have the chives in, but I just moved them because the parsley gets so big. I just thought it's better to have all the parsley in one container. So I think there's 4 or 5 plants in there, doing okay. This bed's a real jungle of onions. Maybe I planted too many in here, but they seem to be growing really well, so, and I'm sure they've been loving the rain. Got netting on this bed, like I have with a lot of the beds. This is for allium leaf miner. I need to check when I get home when the life cycle finishes. I think it's in May, and then they come back in sometime in autumn or late summer, so I should be able to take the netting off. Down the end of the bed I've been growing turnips just to make use of the space. I had a few spare plants and that's done really well. These are Toko cross turnips. I recommend that variety. I tend to just have them raw in a salad. I think they're really nice. And better value than the radishes, I think. They seem to, every single one has grown well for me. Yeah, so that bed, what a jungle. And here in bed 2, the cauliflower plants look very healthy. And there's a couple of Kohlrabi in here too. They might be needing more light when the cauliflower's getting this big. Hopefully they do okay. And kale's here. I had quite a few harvests off this kale. Cavallonera there. And scarlet kale. This is, I really like this variety of scarlet kale. It's, I was a bit confused because when it grew, I was expecting it to come out all purple with purple leaves, but the leaves came out green. So I thought maybe that there must be more than one variety of scarlet kale, and I'd bought the different one, so I was a bit disappointed. But it turns out, I looked it up, it turns out that they go purple in cold weather, so that's quite interesting, isn't it? So in autumn, I'm gonna sow more because I really like this scarlet kale, and then when it gets cold, I guess close to 0 or just below 0, they should turn a nice purple colour. And one more Kohlrabi there at the end. Yeah, this bed's been good. In this bed where I got Calabrese, broccoli and cabbages. Already picked all the main heads in the heat. I think they were going to bolt, so I picked them a bit earlier than I wanted to. So the heads weren't very big, but that's their side shoots growing then. There's a few side shoots, not as many as I hoped, but I don't really know how long, if it's likely any more will come up. And then cabbages. On this bed I did have some shade netting for a while because of the heat. I just thought they were all going to bolt, and I was actually right, because some cabbages, those three seem okay. And that one's gone to flower just to that 32-degree heat wave. Hopefully the rest are going to heart up nicely. In about a week or two I'm going to clear this bed, and then I'm going to put I've got Brussels sprouts to go in and some Kalettes. And I know ideally I wouldn't put brassicas in straight away after other brassicas, but the plot's so small again, I've got no choice really. But can't complain. Quite happy with the harvest really. The third of the mini beds has now got 3 tomato plants in, where it did have lettuce and spring onions. I've left a couple of spring onions there which are huge now, and I've put little spring onion seedlings there around the edge and the back as well, just to use the space up. This variety is Burlesque, which is a blight resistant variety, which is so far growing well. I'm quite happy with that. I started these a bit later than my earlier tomatoes, so I'm hoping that they won't come till quite a bit later, but you never know. Sometimes they just catch up, don't they? In the shed bed where I've got my potato containers, a real sea of potato foliage, growing really well. I was actually going to thinking about trying to harvest some. I need to have a dig around, see if I can feel any potatoes in there. But I couldn't feel any a couple of days ago, so I know we did have that heat wave, and I know potatoes might slow down growth during really, really hot weather, so they are a more cooler weather crop. So I think I'm going to leave it a week and then harvest. I'm a bit worried because we had so much rain that the rain might have caused some splitting, which I had last year, but that did only affect 1 or 2 containers, I think. So we've got first early potatoes here, Caledonian Pearl, and got some main crop Cara, and I've got some pink fir apple, and then down the back the fig tree and parsnips. The parsnips looking okay. Where that milk bottle is, there's just some parsnips in containers. Yeah, but let's say that looks like a very healthy bunch of plants. So that's about it. Generally pretty happy with how things are growing at the moment. I've had some good harvests so far, and there'll be quite a lot of good harvest to come, I think. Got a few plants to plant out, like Kalettes, Brussels sprouts, purple sprout and broccoli. Once the space in the beds. Then this month I've got to think about sowing kale seeds for kale plants for autumn. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how things go. And probably Carrots is slightly concerning, whether they're going to come up and whether I need to resow, but hopefully within the next few days I'll see what the germination's like. Apart from that, I'm generally happy.